Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide, her podcast featuring Emmy Award winning Janae Adams.
This is the best intro ever. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. I gotta make it sure it's live and lit. We lit with a passion. Hello.
I love that. I love that.
You doing all right today?
I'm doing good today. How about you?
It's Friday, so
Mhm.
we here, we live.
We made
Not
it.
we made it. Never would. No, just kidding.
Oh, okay, Marvin.
Yeah. Let's get it started. So, Miss Janae Adams, can you tell us how you got to where you are right now? Like, it just describe your journey.
Yeah, so my journey started in college, of course. Just was like I was doing some writing for the newspaper on campus at Clark Atlanta. I was just doing, just trying to get my hands in whatever, just because I knew I wanted to work in sports. I was just trying to figure out like my footing. Then was able to get some internships under my belt, which really helped. I got one through the school to start off, and then I did my first big one with Turner Sports. As a production assistant that summer. I think it was like summer 2002, 2018. And then after that, I was the Rodin Fellow with Anscape, which was heavy on the writing, but they also sent us to places like different sporting events and whatnot to kind of learn what it's like to work those major events. And then from there, just kind of started my career like MLB Network. I got to work there for a little bit as a broadcast associate. Then I worked the Saints and the Pelicans as a production assistant. And then I went to the Athletic and was doing breaking news on the breaking news desk. So it's been a little journey before I got to CSC now. So I made the transition into being a broadcast agent, kind of leaving the writing and the editing and all that kind of behind.
Oh shoot, you were like busy all throughout.
I know.
So I remember you played softball for two HBCUs. So,
Mhm.
what was the transition like from Alabama A&M to Clark Atlanta, and what would you say is the misconception of like the competition of HBCUs?
It was a transition for real. Like the hardest transition was just going from California out of high school to Alabama because it was like, I've never been to the South at that time. So my first experience was like now living there instead of even just visiting. But I loved it going to A&M. I thought it was really fun. I really just loved all the people there. I'm still real close with all my friends over there. So it was a really great experience, great introduction to the South. And it's crazy because like softball is so competitive. HBCU softball is just as competitive, as like PWI softball, and Alabama A&M is D1 and then Clark is D2. So it was a big transition in that kind of regard. Like I don't think the competition level, like it's not like it majorly decreased when I went to Clark. It was just that like at A&M, since we were D1, our non-conference games, like we would play Mississippi State or we would play. I think we played Auburn. Like we were playing like some big teams, whereas like Clark we were playing teams like out of the conference, but just definitely not on the magnitude of those major schools. So yeah, but I think all around like the competition was still really tough, but it was a really great experience.
Hey, I mean, I like I said, I love the HBCUs. I love it. I love the legacy and the history, especially the sports behind it, and to see like they're finally getting the recognition. How does it feel to finally see them getting the recognition, especially in the sports world, especially like in NCAA tournaments and just everything?
Yeah, I'm really glad to see the recognition. I think it's been a long time coming. I think, like Texas Southern men's basketball has been good for years and like, they always make the tournament. So I'm really glad just to see like, people kind of recognizing them, recognizing just other sports and programs. I think Howard just started like a ice skating team or something. And then Fisk has the gymnastics program. So now you're starting to see different sports now joining, like some of these different HBCUs, like of course Dion and Jackson State kind of made everybody pay attention to football, but it's just been cool, like just seeing, there's been great history, with HBCU sports and whatnot. It's just really cool that now ESPN is talking about it and Yahoo is talking about it. So I just hope it really continues. Because there's a lot of really strong talent. Like the Celebration Bowl is a really fun event to attend. It's really great football. Yeah, so I just really hope that, it just keeps growing and growing and more people start to realize like, top recruit athletes, like these are great destinations. You don't have to only consider, like the major schools. Like you can have a strong playing career and go to, professional, the NFL or whatever it is from HBCU too.
For sure. And I see you repping the Bay. You do it for the Bay, like the 49ers and the
Oh,
Warriors.
don't mention them. Don't mention them.
Not mention, don't, oh,
It's
the
too
Warriors.
soon. It's too
Don't,
soon for the Niners.
no. Oh, I
We in
was
Warriors mode now.
I was cheering for them, and it's like, man, I can't cheer for nobody these
Yeah,
days.
like I just need them to get it done. Hopefully, 1 year, 1 year.
They got this. But my question is for you is like, I noticed like, I think in the Major League Baseball, like you have I guess a Jessica Mendoza as a one of the commentaries for the Major League. Do you hope to see like more women that like in the softball aspect to kind of like integrate to, commentating with baseball too?
Yeah, I definitely think that, there should be more because I mean Jessica is amazing. I remember looking up to her when I was younger, but it's like I think it's sometimes it's like when they have one person, it's like okay, that's enough, and it's like nah, there's other really good softball players. You see them playing athletes unlimited and whatnot right now, and you see them playing just different types of levels of softball. And I feel like we could definitely integrate, some softball players, into the commentary for baseball. Just because I mean it's the same sport essentially, just changing certain things, different ball and whatnot, different bats. But at the end of the day, like if you play softball, you can understand baseball and vice versa. So it makes sense to have a woman in there to kind of give that perspective, just of what's going on, just breaking down the game. Because I think that's just kind of what's needed. We're seeing a lot of that in basketball. We're seeing more women be on basketball broadcasts, and the play-by-play chairs and the analyst chairs and whatnot. Um, and so I just hope to see like that happen for baseball.
When you were part of the broadcasting team with Major League Baseball, what was that like?
It was really cool. It was especially cool because I had just finished playing softball, like finished my softball career. So then my first job working in Major League Baseball, that was like a dream come true for me. And it was like, I'm getting paid to watch baseball and cut highlights of what's going on in baseball. So it would just be, like whatever players, right, that are, had a good game the night before, or if I'm doing something that's ongoing, like a game is currently happening, it's just like, okay, here's some moments. Let me cut this together and put it out for TV for the next segment or whatever. So I thought that was just a really good experience. And then the studio was there, so there would be sometimes players coming by. So I remember like Puig came by, and I was freaking out because I loved him. So I don't even think I got to see. I didn't even get to meet him, but I was hurt because
Oh,
yeah, I think I was on deadline or something, and everybody was like, someone came in, they're like, yeah, Puig is outside, and I'm like, can I go? And they're like, no, 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 you gotta
oh.
finish your work. But I think that was the coolest thing though of it. Just being able to walk in them studios and get to see the Emmys that they won and getting to see just different things. Like I thought that was just a really cool experience.
Girl, speaking of Emmy, what was that like to like get an Emmy, like just finally get one for
It
yourself?
was amazing because I didn't expect to get one, honestly. I always just like when we won the Emmy, I just assumed like, okay, the head producers and whatnot of the show are going to receive them. I didn't really expect that. Like, I just figured like, okay, my contribution is small. Like, it's really cool that the show won, but I didn't think I would receive a trophy as well. So I thought that was just really cool on MLB's part to make sure that everybody who had a single hand in anything, for MLB Tonight, the show that won, like we all got recognition, we all got trophies. So I thought that was just really good on their part, and it was just really cool moment. And it was cool because I actually, when I received the actual award, it was I believe the day after or 2 days after my baby shower. So it was like now I'm pregnant, I'm about to have a child, and now I just got my Emmy trophy. So it was the best feeling ever.
Man, like I'm pregnant and then just getting it, it's like a double blessing all at once.
Yes, exactly.
So also I know you are part of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Um, how did you how were you able to balance being part of sorority as well as playing softball in college and academics all at once? at the time?
It was really hard. It was really hard, but that just kind of goes into leaning on your different sisters, whether in the sorority and then my softball team and like, my coach and whatnot. My coach is a Delta, so she understood, like when I would have some things I couldn't do with the team. She would understand and she would just give me support. Same with like my line sisters and my chapter, they would give me support in the areas that I needed. There were some other athletes on our line as well, so that kind of, it was just a good mixture of community. I think the only way to really balance it was just open communication. I think the hardest part was like the internship element of it, because sometimes we would be needing to travel. And so that would be really hard, especially juggling the school element. Because I was, in my senior year. So I'm trying to graduate and keep my grades going, but at the same time, have my hands full with different things. So, I mean, the biggest thing that I did, and I've kind of been like this since a kid, like whenever I would receive an assignment, I would just try and knock it out as quick as possible. So that way it's like, okay, if it's due Friday, I probably would have it done by Tuesday, because I just know there's something going to pop up in the week, whether it's softball or, being the sorority, all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to really just make sure, like, really utilizing my planner, because it was just so much going on. But definitely leaning on people, that really is what kind of helped me.
Man, because first of all, I love I love the D9 because I love it because I just love it, especially like always see like you know to see like the representation too, especially in sports. What's that like to see like say some of the women that are part of the Greek sorority, the Divine Nine in the sports, and just exemplify that representation of not only being part of the Divine Nine but being a black woman in sports.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see just different women, just doing different things. Like I believe Zora's an AKA, Zora Stevenson's an AKA, I believe. Autumn Johnson's a Delta. I'm SG Row. Like it's just cool seeing just people doing all these amazing things. And at the end of the day, it's like some of it's like, oh, she's in the same sorority as me, or like, we're sister Greeks. Like, um, it's just been a really fun thing. Like I met someone recently who's an executive and she's an SG Row, and that was, oh my gosh, I met another SG Row and she's in a high ranking position. So it's just always amazing to see, um, just see that, Tarika Foster Brasby's an SG Row. I love her, very big voice in women's basketball. I know that you know that. So it's just always, it was the coolest moment when I realized like we were sorors, because she's so visible, showing off our sorority. So I think it's definitely needed. And I mean, especially just on because I think it's educating people at the same time. Like I'm sure every time she's wearing her pins and whatnot, somebody's like, what do those letters mean? And they might be researching it, who knows? And, but it's always just bringing more visibility to the orgs.
For sure. And yeah, Tarika, yeah, she she is so big in that for real.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not know Zora was part of one and Autumn is part of the adults. I was like,
Yeah.
dang.
Because I remember, I think I saw Zora post it on like Founders Day. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure she is, though. I think. But I know Autumn is definitely a Delta.
Girl, I had my first guest was Kelsey Nicole Nelson. She's a AKA
Yeah.
and I was like, yo,
I didn't realize she was an AK.
yeah.
Wow. See, that's another thing. I didn't realize that. Like, I love her, but I didn't realize she was. I didn't even realize she was Greek. That's cool.
It's just amazing to see like just to see something like that all the time, like just to see it and then like so my question is, first of all, Janae, you're one of my favorite people in
Oh,
not only women's sport but as a person, and you truly an inspiration, like just becoming a woman in sport. What's it like to like say receive praise and like get that that compliment, especially being part of, say, one of the faces of women's sports, like, say, a Zora Stevenson, an Autumn Johnson, and an Ari Chambers.
um, that's crazy to me. Well, thank you for that. First off, thank you, because I definitely really appreciate you. You're always showing a lot of love, always showing support, and so it definitely means a lot. I just want you to know that. I'm really bad at kind of taking praise. I think I'm really much. what's the word when you're just like the way that you view yourself isn't the way that other people view you. So I have to do a better job at that, honestly. Because sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I don't think I'm doing enough, and then it's just crazy when you hear someone else and they're like, no, you're doing a lot, and it's kind of always needed to hear that. Like, dang, okay, that's cool. So like all the people that you just mentioned are like amazing. Like Ari is a trailblazer, you know, just as much of all the stuff that she's been doing to put women's sports, because it started off just basketball, but then she's really just been putting on every sport, like women's sport, on the map, really. And just been people, you know, Zora just, you know, play by play, you know, she's been doing a lot of things. Autumn's been doing a lot of crazy things. So it was just, you know, being even in the same conversation as them is definitely like a really big deal to me because, you know, like I think it's just, I don't know, that's just a really nice compliment. So thank you. I don't know.
Girl, you're always welcome. And it's, you got empower women be empowering women. And then you always got to give flowers when folks are alive because it just seems like we always tend to give flowers when people like pass away. It's like, why not give their flowers right now and just appreciate where they are right now and, lift them up. So,
Absolutely.
So my so speaking of CSE talent, because you're part of the agency, can you explain what CSE talent is about and like what's it like being part of that team?
Yeah, so we pretty much we represent broadcasters. So we actually I'll backtrack. We got our start representing coaches. So we represent basketball coaches, and now we just started doing football coaches a lot in the college football space, but now we're doing NFL as well. And then we represent broadcasters too. So whether it's like sports people, news talent, local news, national news, and podcasters even. And now it's kind of even some like sports influencers or just, you know, kind of things like that. We kind of represent a little bit of everything. And so pretty much, you know, we're based here in Atlanta. We're founded here. And yeah, we really just have our hands in like a lot of different areas. So um, you know, like on my end, I focus specifically on broadcasters, which is really cool. I definitely like to try and focus a lot on women talent, especially people who cover women's sports, just because, you know, it's obviously it's growing heavily and just really want to make sure that it's kind of like I feel like it's my part to kind of help just grow people's careers. Like I think that's just the best part of the job, honestly, because it's kind of like these people are trusting me with their careers and us, you know, as CSC with their careers. So now it's like on us to kind of, okay, let's make sure they get the best deal. Let's make sure they get the best opportunities. And, you know, if they say they want to be Robin, you know, Roberts one day, like let's help them get to that point, you know. And that's kind of just like our part. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit what we do.
And do y'all, when you guys like sign or look at the talents in representing, what's some of the qualities do y'all look for and or like that y'all kind of scout and like the best way to for them to represent the agency?
Yeah, just people who are kind of, you know, strong confidence and delivery, like in whatever it is they're saying. You know, if you're not sure of what it is that you're saying, like when the mic is in your hands, then it's kind of like the viewer's not going to be sure. So definitely people who kind of just, you know, carry themselves well, very fact, you know, like they deliver the facts really well. When it comes to like people like on news, you know, just making sure they have the scripts, you know, all that kind of thing. Some of it like influencer talent. I think people think that followers like you need to have large followings. I think it's just more so about the engagement and just being like, what is it that we come to your page to see? Like when you talk about Ari Chambers, I know you know if you follow her, you are going to see women's sports. You are going to see women being uplifted. So that's why you probably see every brand wanting to work with her who has emphasis on uplifting women. So, you know, like I think that's kind of like what we were looking for too, like people who kind of, you know, have like a very specific brand and that we can help elevate them. Um, and then like coaches wise, you know, I don't do that side, but I'm just trying like winning coaches, great strategies, people who can really just be great leaders for their team and having, you know, players follow them, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're really just trying to find people to really like we always say, we don't really want people like we don't want to just think of it like let me get your next job. It's always just like the long form career. So like Ernie Johnson, we've been repping him for years, like a long time. So it's kind of like that's kind of what we want. We want to be with you for years to come. just really kind of just see your career go from like point A to like wherever it is that you're trying to end goal, you know.
That's interesting. Y'all represent Ernie Johnson, and he's just one of those. I want to say like the respected, lovable, like the commentators, the analysts, just the he's just so mellow, but like just very like that's interesting. That's super cool.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we're founded here in Atlanta, so he's from Georgia, so a lot of our office went to UGA, so we're always trying to like make sure, in general, like make sure the people who are from here, like try and definitely in the South in general, like trying to definitely make sure we tap in with them and kind of just always communicating. But yeah, Ernie, I haven't spent time with him really. I met him, when I was an intern, but I've never heard a bad thing said about him in general. Like even on Twitter, like you never see anything bad about him, which is like that just shows how good of a person he really is.
Yes, and like my question is for you, like especially like in the you living in Georgia, what would you say is how big of a sports town Georgia, well, particularly Atlanta is? Because I know how like they really turn up in a lot of things, but in the sports. So
They got pride. Because I mean, if you think of it, like the Braves are really good. They just won a World Series not long ago. Atlanta United's really good. They won not that long ago. Falcons are Falcons. Uh, Same with the Hawks. Like the Hawks are like they're there. They just need to take it to that next level. But it's like they like if you go to any of them games, the Atlanta Dream games are fire. They're always like sold out. Like it's a really great atmosphere. And now we just got a new team, the Atlanta Vibe for volleyball, women's volleyball. Um, so it's like we're getting new teams just because I think it's just such a sports city, and not even to mention UGA and how dominant their football team is. So I think, yeah, this is like the place to be if you're really into sports because it's just there's so much going on. There's always a game. There's always like people say like Atlanta. I don't know. I've been to every game except for I've never been to a UGA game. I've never been to the Vibe because it's their first season. But I would say I think Dream and Atlanta United, those games are different. The energy is just like, of course, Hawks games have great energy too, but I think the Dream they just do a really good job of like making it super fun. It's just so fun. And Atlanta United, like the soccer energy is different. I think it's different than any other sport.
it just look out, girl. It looks like the dream games would be fun. Like that's on my bucket list to go, just because Charlotte and Atlanta is just
Yeah,
there.
right there.
So Janae, what would you say? How can people support softball more, especially like with the views of the softball college World Series just
Mm.
continue to rise in viewership? And honestly, it's more fun to watch than the baseball. No shade, but let's be honest.
I mean, we got the cheers. It's just more. It's fun. Softball. It's a really good product. But like, I mean, supporting it, I think is just, like you said, like tuning into the Women's College World Series. But then even before that, there's random games that'll come on ESPN or whatever SEC network or whatever networks that you have. Just trying to tune into those games. Like on Hulu, like I'll catch like random games that come on, uh, and just trying to like watch them. I'm not familiar with who's playing, but it's a game's a game. If it's a good game, it's a good game. Softball's one of the sports to me where it's like it doesn't really matter who's playing. I can find good moments of it. And then finding some players maybe that you really like, go support it. If there's a team in your area, going to those games, whatever them colleges are. And then even like Athletes Unlimited, like that season's about to start. Was in the summertime. And they just had a new they have deals for broadcasting too. So like you can catch those games on TV, or if you're in the Chicago area, you can go to those games. So I think it's just all about just trying to figure out ways either to attend games physically or just watch on TV. Because I think either way, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be fun for you to watch. And yeah, I think people just kind of have to tune in a little bit more.
Girl, because when I tell you, like, I ain't gonna lie, I'll watch it during the playoffs because it's like, ooh, it's interesting. And then like you'll see
Mhm.
like say Oklahoma just dominating
They're
almost.
different.
I don't like. Would you say like what was that like to see like the continuing dominance of Oklahoma softball and like how they changed not only softball but the sports world?
Yeah, like I mean, they're just a powerhouse. And it's crazy because it's like they've been good since I was in high school. That's like I graduated 2015 in high school. So it's just when you think about how dominant they are, and these are different. I think it'd be one thing if it's just like you had one really strong team and that was it. Like you've had multiple really strong teams. Like when Kaylani Ricketts was the number one pitcher, I think people didn't realize like the number two pitcher in the entire country was her backup. That's how dominant they were. Yes, I can't remember her name. I apologize for that. But Kaylani was that girl. But then it'd be like, okay, Kaylani needs a break. Let's bring her in, and she's the best. She's the next best pitcher in the whole, NCAA. So it was one of them things. Like it was just top to bottom. They just had a solid roster, and then as you see in now recent years, like they just it's just insane, between the batting and then the pitching and defense, like they're just unstoppable. So I think they really, and I'm really just glad that people got to see, especially with Jocelyn, like how like it kind of just put them out there and it made people want to tune into the game to see, is she gonna hit another home run this game? Like, are they gonna win or is someone gonna upset them? And I think that's all just good for the sport because now it made people tune in and realize like, oh, like the same way you talk about, some real big, teams and whatnot, you're like, that has to be in the conversation, like you said. It's not just softball. Like you are that solidified yourself as like a top team overall in history.
Yeah, because like I remember when Jocelyn's record was nominated for an ESPY, and it's like
Hmm.
that would be cool to see them win. But it's of course it's like, well, they'll just give it to a men's like
Hmm.
record that's like, oh, okay, well, it's not like. Why do you feel like when it comes to like a ESPY award shows, why do you feel like they just tend to give it to like say a men's athlete, a male's athlete that has like a record that it's almost seen every other year, but it's never given to like a female athlete who has did a record that's probably never going to happen again. That's like once in
Yeah.
a lifetime.
See, I'm not sure if it's like a voting committee or however those are given with that, but I feel like it's just one of the things like with the men's, it's pushed more. Like that, those are the ones like we talk about on the different TV shows every single day, or like on the different apps and Instagram pages and things like that. You're seeing that pushed more instead of the women sports. Like if Kayla Clark don't win an SB this year, that's insane because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like she to me is the most talked about player, rightfully so, you know, in sports, like in college sports right now. Like I feel like that's undeniable. So like to your point, it's like I didn't think that's a large part of that is one because of what she's been doing is unheard of and crazy. But then two is like they actually put the marketing behind her. We're actually pushing her and making everybody aware of what's going on. I think it just kind of goes into like the only way to really grow the game is just to get everybody, not just women pages, because like, pages like Together and they've been doing that, but just paid like the general pages like that do cover all sports and mainly men's sports. It's like y'all got to push women athletes a lot further. We got to push them like you make everybody else care. Like it's a big deal. So yeah, I think that's the only way to really get people to like win those awards. Cause like, yeah, like you said, they got to stop giving it to just men only or create, or, I don't know. Cause some women been dominating these last few years, especially. I mean, even before then, but a lot of people should have won. Like Jocelyn definitely. She
Yeah,
definitely went crazy.
because it's I mean her and some of the gymnastics,
Mhm.
gymnasts that like Trinity Thomas just with perfect tens, and then say Caitlin Clark like doing like triple doubles and like
Mhm.
with that, and if they don't recognize, but then also like too like I feel like another thing was I don't know if you remember, there was a post one time where they had the People's Choice Awards of like best athlete, and they had like
Yeah,
certain ones, and then
yeah.
all of them was like champions, and then they had Sabrina, and it's like,
And
where
it goes to that point, like, are you just using her because that's the person that WNBA player that like everybody knows? Which is like, yeah, everybody knows her, but it's like we're not gonna put the champion, the
Asia Wilson,
MVP.
like,
And to me, and that's what's kind of upsetting about that because it's like to me, she is extremely marketable. She has amazing personality. She's goofy. She's funny. She's obviously she's amazing on the court. So it's kind of like why not just push her? Why are we not just putting in the resources? I mean, of course, there's other people too as well, but it's just one of the things like, how did you leave her out the conversation? Like, if there's one person to represent the WNBA right now, it's Asia.
and like she is funny, she's goofy, and she has that like relate like the
Mm-hmm.
what's up, how you doing,
Yeah.
and she's a Greek too. So to see that too, like
Mm-hmm.
it's it's. I think she's definitely marketable for sure. Like I could see her being the face of the WNBA. Just, I mean, she's already won Defensive Player of the Year twice. She's
Yeah.
a WNBA champion. I'm still trying to figure out who voted for her in fourth place for.
She said she knew. I forget. I seen an interview. She was like, "I know who it is." I'm like, "Ooh, who is it?" Because that was some hater stuff. If I ever seen it.
Man, like who? I was like, man, it's just it's unbelievable. But she got that award. She got that WNBA
Mhm.
champion. So it's like, I'll take the big trophy over the MVP. That's fine. I'll take it. So
Exactly. They gonna recognize. They gonna give her flowers. She needs them. She needs her flowers.
for sure. And my question is to like, to you know, like I said, it's just amazing to see like so many women. And oh, my question for you. I know this question. So, do you remember where there was an incident where there was a woman, a reporter, and she basically saying like the whole like, yeah, I faked some of the stuff of the reporting.
Mm-hmm.
How hard did it hit, not only like for you as a sports journalist, but everybody that have like really credentials?
Yeah, I'll speak more for everybody because I've never actually been a reporter. So I'm not like I know what you're supposed to do to put in the effort, but I've never personally had to do all of that. But just like seeing, especially like, friends and just, other women who were like tweeting about it and talking about it and just in general and just knowing the effort they put in, it's like, it's disheartening. Because I mean, I think with reporters, it's like people just think it's like, you know, oh, they just asking like simple questions. Like it's not so simple. They're doing a lot of hours of work. If the game is Saturday, they're working that entire week, gathering stuff the day before and the day of and whatnot, talking to coaches, talking to players. They're gathering so much material and it's only going to be used for like what 3 minutes or 5 minutes max, between all of their hits on TV. But that's just so much work. And then you got to do it for another location, for another school the next week. And so it's just one of the things like to hear that it's false, that's just crazy because it's, what am I doing all this work for? Like I'm doing everything to really just do my job the way it should be. And it's just crazy to think that, somebody isn't doing all that kind of stuff and just like, yeah, I'm just taking the easy way out and just lying. So it's kind of crazy. But I think you also have to bring up race when it comes to things like that because it's like we all know that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if a black woman were to say the exact same thing, I doubt she would have a job because it's like, you're a Scandal fan. It's like Papa Pope always says, you got to work twice as hard to get half of what they have. And it's just true. It's the hard truth. But it's one of them things where you really have to put in so much time and effort to be almost perfect just to make sure that you keep your job or even get these jobs. So then when they hear that somebody else is like just nonchalant about it, you're just like, dang, like I'm breaking my back. I'm broke. I don't, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not getting my break. And it's like well, other people are able to get major opportunities and admit to not doing much. So it's just one of those things that's like it was really disheartening. Like I said, it doesn't it hits other people harder than me just because I'm not a reporter. But yeah, it's just really it was kind of hard to hear.
And like, I definitely agree because if I could see race being played because, like you said, if it was a black woman, then it's like I knew it. She, but to fact, and it's crazy because it's like I remember Lisa Salters who tweeted like, "I have 20 plus years," and the fact to see something like that now, I feel like now my credentials and my work is being questioned, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like this is so sad. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's and she's been on, like I said, she's been doing like this stuff like 20 plus years. You see her like her and Jamel Hill and other like black women in sports that have worked super hard, and then like if they did something like that, they're not going to get a job anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just
And I think it opened the door just to people for people to be like criticizing other reporters' work, like maybe she's lying or maybe she didn't really. And I was kind of just like, no, I'm doing my work. Why are we questioning me? I've been doing it. So it's just one of the things like I feel like it opened the door to a lot of unnecessary criticism to reporters.
it's it's like, and folks don't understand how important like the research that people have to put in, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fact check, because these days with artificial intelligence, anybody can just put out some crazy facts and it's like that's not true. So it's like,
Exactly.
man. So Miss Janae, I have a question for you, and I always ask my guests this question because Bonafide means authentic, and just and of course, Ms. Janae, you are always authentic. Like I said, shout out to you. And
Thank
it's
you.
I feel like girl, when I asked you to come on the show, I was like, yes, please, Lord, please. Just like I just
You know, I would
so
never say no to you in general.
oh,
Like, come on now.
see, look at this, real recognize real. So
Exactly.
hey, and I'm with the scandal. I love I miss
That's
scandal.
why I said it because I know you love it.
Girl, that and All American Homecoming,
Oh
because
yeah, that is your show.
I mean, I love All American too. Like the first one, I'm a Splivia fan. I'm with it, and to see that the guy that plays Lando is now the main character, I'm like, please, Simone, just choose Lando, just do it,
She has to at this point.
cause he was so consistent with the effort, like
Hmm.
and like just do it,
You got
please,
her in the sorority. Like, we got to give Lando some love.
girl. Like
Hmm.
the support is real, like
Hmm.
just and he's fine too, but.
Oh my God.
So my question is for you, Janae, in all seriousness, what makes your story just unique and stand out, and what makes you like bona fide?
No, I feel because I don't know. I feel like when I was starting off, like I feel like okay, like I've always known I want to be in sports since high school, and so like when just accomplishing that was already like really major for me. But I think just the journey in general, like it's been so like I feel like when I first started off, it was really smooth sailing. Like I was blessed to have a job coming out of college, or I was blessed to have good internships in college. Like things that were really hard to get, I got them really early, and then you know, I've hit challenges where it's like, I don't know what if I want to do this anymore. Should I pivot out completely? Like, hitting them moments where you just don't really know what to do. Having a child, like that's a major life change now. And now it's like mentally, I'm like, okay, like I feel like I'm low key starting over, like from square one now, changing into a new career, like being now in the sports business or just business side of things in general. It's like, I feel like now it's kind of like square one, but at the same time, like I still all the resources I gathered help. But I think it's just the imperfection of the journey that I think really makes it bona fide. Just because um, it's been a lot. It's been a long journey to me for real, but it's been beautiful at the same time. I feel like really glad just to be able to be in a position where every day it's like I'm helping real people accomplish what they want to do. I never wanted to be in front of the camera really. That really wasn't my vibe. So it's cool just now to be in that position to where even writers too, we represent writers. So even, helping other people what they want to accomplish, being able to play a part in that and helping them, I think. And at the end of the day, it goes back into just what like being Greek is all about, and D9 is like service. And I feel like I always view like my job now as a form of service, of giving back every day and to students and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's the beauty of the journey. It's gonna be ugly sometimes, but God always gonna make a way, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be good.
Girl, you ain't said nothing but a word. Hallelujah. Yes, I had to do the hallelujah just like Medea.
I was gonna say, okay, Mabel.
Hey, because I just let them know what it is, what a time. So, Miss Janae, can you let the folks know how they can support, where to follow you, and if there's any upcoming events for you?
So you can follow me at Janae N Adams, like N as in Nicole, on Instagram and Twitter. And then upcoming events. My next one is Women's Final Four, so I'm excited about that.
Hey,
Yes, so I'm excited about that. Cleveland.
Cleveland.
But I'm just excited to be out there. Um, I have a lot of teams I'm supporting, but I feel like I think based off of the current standings, you gotta always root for Don. You always gotta root for South Carolina. But I think I'm gonna go all in Stanford. I'm going all in Stanford right now. I feel like they're the Bay Area team. I have to support them. They're amazing. And I feel like it's amazing if Tara wins a championship after, in the same season she broke the record, the coaching record. So I'm like, so yeah, that's where you're gonna find me. Hopefully wearing some from red.
I would love to see a South Carolina Stanford matchup, like just to see, also to see I I didn't realize it was Tara, but I always said it was Tara. Just it's just to see her break, a record that's been there for years, that is
Mhm.
unheard of. But she letting the folks know, put them on notice. So
Mhm. And I think regardless, it's just gonna be good basketball. Like the women's Final Four has been so like crazy these past been like 4 or 5 like it's been a lot. It's been some years. It's been years like that. It's just been so dominant, really good, like better than the men's. It's been like that for a while, and I'm just glad that now it's like I feel like other people catching on. They checking in for the women's. Like you know, uh last year's women's Final Four was insane.
yes,
LSU was hot, at South Carolina, of course, Iowa, and what was it,
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Like those were some good games. So I feel like now this year it's like, okay, people saw all that going on last year. They're like, okay, we got to tune in. And right now the big thing is like South Carolina. Are y'all gonna finish undefeated?
That would be crazy. It'll be like almost similar to what the Tennessee Lady Vols did back in like the '90s.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I just love what Don Staley has done with the program, and just to see like how impactful she has made in not just only college sports, but like in sports in general. So
Period.
she
Yeah.
she let them know what it is, what time it is. So, and the fact
Mhm.
that she won already like two championships under her belt from those previous Final Four that was
Mhm.
just recent. So
Hey, they're the team to beat for real. But at the same time, there's some good basketball right now. So either way, we're gonna be in for a show. We gonna get some good show. Thank
well, girl, I know you're going to have a great time at the Final Four.
you.
And thank you so much again for coming on the podcast. And thank you for everybody that tuned in to, check out Janae Adams, the lovely Janae Adams.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.
Bye.